Métal Maniaques, le podcast de Christophe G, les métalleux tripeux d'horreur.
Métal Maniaques, épisode 53. Content de vous retrouver, chers Métal Maniaques. Ce mois-ci, 13 avril, on retrouve une entrevue, une conversation avec le guitariste du band death metal Fulci. Ben, l'italien, évidemment, d'où inspiré là, la carrière de Lucio Fulci, cinéaste émérite, disparu depuis 96, mais qui a réalisé un paquet de classiques. Donc, l'entrevue est avec Domenico Diego, qui est guitariste, qui joue aussi les claviers, qui écrit les paroles, qui est derrière le concept global du band, fondé en 2013. Ils ont 4 albums à leur actif, dont le dernier, Face Killings, sorti l'an dernier. 4e album studio inspiré du film de New York Ripper de Lucio Fulci, un film complètement débile. Dans les plates-bandes du film Maniac de William Lustig, Maniac, dont j'ai rippé le logo pour faire créer celui de Metal Maniacs. Mais Lucio Fulci, ce n'est pas que le réalisateur de New York Ripper, dans lequel un tueur en série fait des sons de canard. Très trash film, hein, très exploitation, très violent, sexué, weird. À découvrir, hein, si vous êtes capable d'en prendre. Mais moi, mon film préféré de Lucio Fulci, c'est The Beyond. Un film qui est appelé ici au Québec, qui est sorti avec cette pochette-là, L'au-delà. Un de ses meilleurs films, pour vrai, mais la Golden Age de Lucio Fulci, qui a commencé dans les années 60, il a fait du giallo, Lizard with a Woman's Skin dans les années 70, mais fin 70, début 80, il a sorti beaucoup de films provoquants, gore, dégueulasses, très dans les cultes un peu sataniques, mais des trucs complètement weird comme La maison près du cimetière, The House by the Cemetery, hein, un film très bien dégueu, hein, très cheap, mais ces films-là, ils sont inoubliables comme City of the Living Dead, qu'on a aussi appelé The Gates of Hell. Ça, je peux pas trop en dire. Tu sais. Tu sais, il y a des films comme ça qu'il faut le voir pour le croire, comme Zombi, qui était appelé Zombi 2 en Europe. Donc, on voit ici Zombi 2, mais pas de E. Je ne sais pas pourquoi ils ont mis un E sur cette pochette-là, mais ça a été retitré ici en Amérique du Nord sous le titre Zombie, qui se veut une fausse suite, en fait. Là. Ils ont capitalisé sur le fait que Dawn of the Dead, le classique de Romero, la suite de Night of the Living Dead, en Italie, s'appelait Zombie. Ils l'ont appelé ça comme Zombie, Z-O-M-B-I, comme le duo qu'on a déjà eu, le groupe de Steve Moore, qu'on a déjà eu sur le show. Puis, ben, ils ont appelé ça Zombie 2, pour faire comme si c'était une suite de Dawn of the Dead. Donc, ça commence à New York, dans le port de New York, mais c'est filmé un petit peu à New York, mais beaucoup en Italie. Mais ce film-là, Zombie, c'est le seul dans lequel vous pouvez voir un zombie se battre contre un requin sous l'eau. Absolument incroyable. Lucio Fulci a aussi réalisé des petits films bien crades comme L'Énigme et Murder Rock. Donc, ben, étant donné que le band Fulci, probablement leur première, oui, je pense que c'est leur première fois à Montréal, donc viennent faire un show au mois de mai, 15 mai, Théâtre Fairmount, avec Mutilation Barbecue, Scorching Tomb et Rat Piss. Donc ça risque d'être bien fun. Donc du gros death, bien méchant de Fulci, bien guttural, dans le tapis, mais bien fait. Vraiment, c'est du gros death, mais tu sais, qui réinvente pas la roue, mais avec l'espèce de couche hommage à Lucio Fulci, on le prend. En plus, on va avoir droit à un petit court-métrage réalisé par un fellow italien qui s'appelle aussi Domenico, inspiré du film de New York Ripper, euh, et qui va ouvrir le concert de Fulci. C'est comme une bande-annonce disponible, non, c'est une fausse bande-annonce en fait, là, qui n'est pas disponible en ligne. Ça s'appelle Face Killing, comme le dernier album de Fulci. Quatrième album, donc un band que Domenico a lancé en 2013. Donc, bien hâte, une conversation super tripante avec ce passionné guitariste qui nous parle aussi d'une convention, hommage à Fulci qui a monté dans sa ville. Donc, vraiment, vraiment cool. Sinon, évidemment, il y a, en fait, pas évidemment, mais par un concours de circonstances très cool, il se trouve que un des compositeurs, collaborateurs de Lucio Fulci, qui s'appelle Fabio Freddi, hein, qui a fait notamment la trame sonore, composée et jouée au clavier de l'au-delà. Fabio Freddi va être aussi en ville, à Montréal. Donc, lui, un petit peu avant, donc 30 avril, aussi au Théâtre Fairmount, avec une projection du film Zombi. Donc, il est avec son band. Donc, ça, c'est vraiment très cool. Un peu plus dans le prog, dans une espèce de trip de clavier très weird, très épeurant. Euh, mais quand même, ça aussi, c'est assez connexe avec le cinéma italien, étant donné que c'est un compositeur complètement culte, donc vraiment excité. C'est la première fois qu'il joue à Montréal. Il est venu souvent en Amérique du Nord, donc on n'a jamais eu l'occasion de le voir. Donc, je vous invite à aller voir ça aussi. Donc, Fulci, le band sera, je le rappelle, le 15 mai au Théâtre Fairmount. Mais en attendant, donc, je vous invite à vous taper tous les films que j'ai énumérés et plus encore de Lucio Fulci, mais surtout de New York Ripper et l'album Face Killing de Fulci. Et je vous laisse avec mon entrevue avec Domenico
Métalleux,
Diego
triple
de
d'horreur.
Fulci.
He'll tear your soul
There's a little bit of delay. We're
How
pretty
are you?
far apart, but we're here and it's the magic of technology. It's amazing. But pretty soon we're gonna be in the same room because Full Cheese coming to Montreal finally. I think it's gonna be your first time in Montreal, right?
Yes, first time ever.
That's awesome because you're gonna see people in Quebec. They're pretty rabid about metal. You know, metal, it's been in our hearts, in our brains ever since, Voivod started back in like 83. So, and they're actually from my hometown. So, I guess you know a bit, you know Voivod, right?
Of course.
Any self-respecting metalhead has to know Voivod. So that's great. Okay. So you passed the first question with like, pretty good. Nice to meet you, Domenico. It's
Nice
great
to
to
meet
have
you.
you on my little podcast. I started like in the midst of the pandemic because I was tired of just being stuck at home and without any shows to attend and I figured that I could chat with metalheads through Zoom about horror movies because those are the two of my favorite things in life.
Why
And
not? Why not talk about that?
exactly, and I can see that behind you, you have a nice shelf full of DVDs and horror movies. So I think you're fitting right here, and it's amazing. So the first question I like to ask my guests is usually, what came first for you, horror or metal?
That's a hard question. I'm very bad with memories and dates, so I don't know. I think they came at the same time
Oh yeah,
because yeah, because I was discovering heavy metal music at the same time I started to watch horror movies because I think in some way they were related.
of course.
So they came at the same time actually.
So which record, which heavy record made the first big impression on you?
I think if The first memory I have is about Iron Maiden, I guess,
Hmm.
because of the album covers, of
Of
course,
course.
yeah. But I think
Which one? Can you remember which album?
was maybe a live album, like a real live one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was live at Donington. So it
Awesome.
was that one with it was with Eddie that was breaking some electrical wire.
Yeah.
Very crazy cover album with red, still printed in my brain.
Of course, and Maiden, they've been at it at that point for a few years. They were becoming, huge, and with the big stage show, and as you said, album covers, horror and metal. For them, it's intricate, and they made such a good use of having. It's kind of a movie poster on the cover. They kind of started a thread because we go back in time, those Judas Priest or Black Sabbath album cover, they weren't that inspired by movies per se. Sometimes they were, sometimes they weren't. But I think Maiden, they started this whole thing. And were you playing guitar at that time, or did it
Yeah,
started, that will that you wanted to play guitar?
yeah, I started actually with classical guitar, like acoustic guitar.
Hmm.
But when I discovered heavy metal, I immediately wanted to buy a electric guitar. So when I get it, maybe it was my birthday. I started like jamming, of course, heavy metal songs.
Hmm. And can you remember the first horror movie that you got to see, or maybe you sneak out of your room when you were supposed to be asleep, or were your
Yeah, yeah,
parents prevented you from watching that kind of flick, or were they open?
yeah. It was on there. What there wasn't internet at that time, so you have to wait the late night to watch some horror movies or even maybe some sexy movie.
Hmm.
So you have to stay wake up, hiding yourself sometimes.
Hmm.
So I think the first one I saw on television was one of the Hellraiser, maybe.
Oh, okay. It started strong.
Yeah, Hellraiser and maybe some Spielberg one. I cannot remember actually,
Oh,
but it
perhaps
was in the television.
Poltergeist, maybe?
No,
No?
maybe the one with the machine that I don't remember the title. It was this industrial machine that was eating or a oven, something like that. I don't remember. Maybe it's not Spielberg.
Okay, Verhoeven.
I need to find out. Very bad with memories, and I told you.
No worries, no worries. Because getting older, that's how it is. Memories get blurred, and but that's a good. It's a good thing to forget about movies because you can watch them again like it was the first time. I
Yeah, of
like
course.
watching classics all the time, and I tend to forget a lot of things about those movies, and it's so cool to wait like 10 years and then you discover it all over again. Like Fulci's films. Lucio Fulci, for me, he's the gore master of the 80s, 70s and 80s. And when I discovered his cinema through a friend of mine, Sébastien, salut Sébastien, he opened the gates of hell for me, with, guts being, vomited and the priest getting hanged and all that great stuff by eyeballs getting punched, by splinters. And I was like, what the hell I'm watching, but I want more. So for you, growing up in Italy, I guess Pulci, he was established already. So well, how did you encounter his cinema?
Yeah, it was interesting because at that time, all the movies were actually not very explicit, uh, and especially if they were screened in television, there was also maybe some cuttings, or it was maybe a not very extreme movie. But when I discovered Lucio Fulci movies, it was like game changing. Like, oh my god, this guy is doing what I want. I mean, I want to see the gore till the end. I mean, I want to see the drill, not that stops before entering in the head. I want to see that it enter and it goes outside on the other side. That's it about Fulci, because he did the things like for real, so you can really see the gore and the violence till the end, till the very end, even more than you expected.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's
And
why.
that was kind of trippy also because, as you said, all the other directors they tend to cut, just and for you to suggest in your own mind what would happen, but Fushi, he wasn't shy. He wanted to show us, and he found very creative ways of putting that, through editing and to showing us the real stuff, and sometimes with real guts, and he was kind of a maverick, and we heard stories, and when you're a geek like me, you read about that stuff and you listen to the commentaries and documentaries, and he was kind of pretty crazy on set apparently. But those movies, they show that he put it off. He pulled it off. So, which was the first Fulci movie that you got to see? Can you remember?
I don't remember if it was the one you were talking about some minutes
The,
ago,
the Beyond?
City of the Living Dead.
Oh yeah, yeah. Gates of
That
Hell. Yeah.
maybe City of the Living Dead, or I don't know if
How's that?
also Voice from Beyond. That
Oh.
it was one of the latest movies he
Mm-hmm.
did. But at that time, I started to watch horror movies mid 90s, so
Okay.
it was the period when this movie was actually released, because actually it did in 1991, but it
Mhm.
wasn't released till 94, I guess. So maybe that's why I saw for that one for the first time. Maybe the first or the second, I don't remember. But it
Okay.
was one of his latest movies, so not one the most famous one, of course. But
Okay.
it was still a very good movie.
And,
I
and
really
then
liked it.
and then you found out about this cinema, and you went back to the video store and you rented those cassettes, and
Yeah, then it was like never-ending discovery of Fulci, but also other Italian directors like Deodato, like Lenzi,
and
like
Argento, of course, and
yeah.
that's
Argento was very commercial at the time, but
mhm.
there was also
Like
um,
Pupi Avati,
that,
Bava, and
the Aristide Massacesi. The name was Joe D'Amato.
oh, we.
Yeah, Joe
he
D'Amato.
he's pretty crazy also. But as you said, those movies, and especially the Italians and maybe the French filmmakers, they weren't shy to show nudity as well, compared to American cinema that where they showed a bit, but in Europe it's different. It's not that we're not you're not Puritan. So true for me, my dad was subscribed to a cinema channel on television when I was growing up, and I got to encounter Enigma by Fucci when I was pretty young, and I was like, "Whoa, am I allowed to see that kind of stuff?"
Yeah.
But how was the distribution back then in Italy? Could you have access in video stores to rent those movies? And was Fulci renowned, or was he kind of despised by the real author like Fellini. And what was this the situation for Fulci in Italy back then?
Yeah, you couldn't find this kind of movies in the video store.
No?
It was very difficult. If you found maybe a cut version. So
Okay.
it was like music. It was a very underground circle where we exchanged like VHS
Kind of
and
a tape trading. You had to
yes,
find
yes,
friends and make copies and
something like this. And
cool.
you found very extreme movies, even Japanese movies or
Oh yeah,
uh,
guinea pigs.
yeah, French movies as well, Spanish movies. I'm huge fan of Jean Rollin
Mm-hmm.
movies and also Jesus Franco
Yes,
movies.
totally.
So you could find this movie couldn't find in the video store. You had like connection with this underground circuit, and you exchange movies or and opinion, of course,
Mm-hmm.
about horror movies, about music. It was very interesting, and
It was
Fulci
kind
is
of a community. You had to build a community or find your peers at school and through T-shirts, I guess,
yes.
metal T-shirts and movie horror movie T-shirts, and you found people that could recommend or maybe lend you a cassette. Was the same for me.
Yes, it was like this because there was no internet, no cell phones, so you have to go on the street and meet people, go to the record store, to the video store, talk about. It was also about relationship and community, and for me, it's still like this. I still like these kind of things
Like,
because of the community, not only for the movies, you know.
yeah, sharing.
So
It's all about sharing.
yeah, sharing the same passion, the same
Interest.
also yeah, how can I say, it was a sort of like breaking the rules of the
Or what
mainstream.
you was supposed to
Yeah,
watch and
yeah, yeah,
finding the extreme.
yeah, and because the mainstream sucks, so you had to find something very underground. The more underground it is, the more it's cool,
Oh man,
and
I can only agree with you because I was the same. You had to and with the advent of DVDs and VHS, they became a bit cheaper. At the end in the 90s and beginning of the 2000s, and you had great companies like Anchor Bay that put on those cassettes and special edition uncut versions of those movies we saw cut back in the days, and man, that was so cool to see good copies aside from beat up copies that it's all dark and you can kind of see anything.
yeah, actually I still like the low quality cassettes because some movies when I saw them with the restored version like 4K or
Yeah,
like very good quality.
was too good.
Too good. Some movies has to be very bad, in my opinion. Like
Yeah, I
I
totally agree.
recently I watched the Paganini horror.
Okay.
It was restored with artificial intelligence. Everything is clear, but it's not the same. I really like the VHS
Hmm.
that was dubbed like many times,
Yeah,
so it was very dark. You cannot really see. It's like listening a Mayhem album with a modern production. It
yeah,
makes no sense for some movies, yeah,
yeah,
not
yeah.
for every.
Like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It was shot on 16 millimeters and then blew up on 35. And then they kind of trying to restore or add details. There is no detail. I don't care about details. I just want to feel that it's almost a documentary.
Yeah,
That's what it makes it so effective. And as you said, sometimes it's better when
yeah,
colors are washed out and and
yeah,
I
yeah,
I watch those cassettes, the old cassettes, sometimes because of just the ritual. The nostalgia. It goes, it brings me back in
Yeah,
time also.
why not? Why not? It's cool to do that, you know. And you were right. I mean, Italian directors were very extreme. They didn't care about rules. There
Yeah.
was no rules. You everything you had in mind, even the most pervert thing, you can shot on video, no matter what, you know. So that it was a sort of protest
Yeah.
against, the Italian. Society of that time. And
Hmm.
we came from the Second World War, from the
Yep.
fascism, so was a sort of freedom even in the cinema. And
Hmm.
this was possible only in few places in the world at the time, because in other countries was not even possible to think about that.
Hmm.
And some movies are still banned in
Hmm.
like UK or Germany or US for this reason, you know. So,
Yeah.
but actually, Lucio Fulci in Italy
Hmm.
was not so popular. It was very popular outside Italy,
Hmm.
very popular in US, in Japan, Germany,
Yeah.
France, I guess Canada. But in Italy, still today,
Yeah.
is not considered like what is it, like the godfather of gore. In Italy, is still like
Mm.
in on the side. Not
Yeah.
not people talk about him. Not so that's why we are trying to bring back, his
Hmm.
movies, and try to uh, I don't want to say teach, but to inform young
Hmm.
generations about what he did, why he did, and what influence his movies had also on graphics, illustration, music,
Hmm.
and so on.
And I think it's a great thing because he was such a very special filmmaker, in ways that it's hard to understand today, because as you said, it's all about the context, where when they were produced, those films, and the way they were produced, and what he was trying to achieve, even though sometimes when you watch it and you're trying to it's not perfect, but it's what makes it so real and raw. And he's it's so different from Argento cinema, which is more about colors and kind of a poetry of violence and all. And when Fulci is all about bringing a fist in your face, just like a vulgar display of power from Pandora, or by the most violent death metal record. So it's so fitting that you choose that name and those kind of homage, because with those records that you put out since the creation of the band back in 2013, four records, and it's always about the starting point is always a movie from Fulci. So it's and you've been in the band since the beginning. You were playing keys and guitar, and I think you write the lyrics as well.
Some,
Sometimes
yeah, I
it
write
depends.
together with the Fiore,
Hmm.
the singer.
Singer.
We write together. Yeah, I since I write most of the music, it's easy for me to write lyrics with him, especially to make the lyrical patterns on the
Hmm.
music. So we work together, and we know each other since we were kids. When we were
Oh
kids,
yeah.
we used to go to the home rental together, me, Fiore, and other friends. And each week, each one of us rented the movie, and we watched all together,
Oh
at,
wow.
at home. So we save money because
Hmm.
each one choose a movie, and we
Hmm.
saw like 5 movies all together, and it was also nice to see together with friends
Of
this kind of
course.
movies. So
And at that time, were you starting to play metal as well in bands? Because you've been in few bands before Fulci, right?
yeah, me and Fiore started the first band like in 1999, maybe
Okay.
almost 30 years ago. We know each other since ages, and also
And that was
few.
metal, of course.
Yeah, it was death metal.
That metal,
It,
always
yeah,
been. Okay.
yeah, death metal about horror movies in general.
Yeah.
Uh, and then after a couple of years, Clem joined us, but then we switched playing more hardcore music. Then we played any kind of music actually, but then in 2000, you say 13, I don't remember actually. I'm very bad with dates, but I trust you. We started Fulci.
That's what the internet said.
Okay, internet is always right.
Of course.
So we started this new band, to bring back what we like, like
Mhm.
death metal music, very specific death metal music that is the Floridan death metal music
Yep.
of the 90s and New York death metal, and some other influence come from Bolt Thrower, of course,
Uh-huh.
and some other bands, but mainly is
I can see a Cannibal Corpse. I can see a
yeah.
Deicide a bit, and
Yeah,
that the kind of
mainly
stuff.
it's Floridan death metal and some New York like Mortician, Suffocation, of course. This incantation in immolation.
Hmm.
This was the main musical influence, and of course we like soundtracks because
Hmm.
watching horror movies you cannot.
Of course.
Yeah, you cannot fall in love with soundtracks as well.
Oh yeah,
So
man. Uh,
yeah, I
th
got both of them.
Though
I got
those reissue are great, but I prefer
yeah.
the old, old cover, and
Yeah.
I'm so stoked about Fabio Frizzi coming, finally coming in Montreal. I saw Goblins, Simonetti's Goblins a few times already, playing to a few movies, Profondo Rosso and Suspiria. And Profondo Rosso is one of my favorite films, but I never actually saw Fabio Frizzi, and I'm really stoked because you're coming a few weeks, I think, before or after you guys come. So it's so cool that he's also paying homage to Lucio Fulci with his tours nowadays. Did you get to watch him live? I'm sure.
Yes, we know Fabio Frizzi since many years.
Oh yeah.
First time we saw him, it was like maybe 15 years ago or maybe more. It was playing in Rome, and he played um, some different songs from different movies, from The Beyond, of course,
Hmm.
from Zombie, from even from the Four of Apocalypse, the Western movie.
Hmm.
He did the music. He did Lucio Fulci,
Yes.
and there were many guests. There
Oh yeah.
was Cinzia Monreale, there was Catriona McNoyle, there was many guests at the show,
Wow.
and
In a big venue with a big
no, it was
orchestra.
a small venue, not very small, medium-sized venue in
Okay.
Rome, and
Right.
me and Fiore were there, and I brought my VHS and DVDs to make him sign, and
Of
he
course.
told us like, guys, you don't believe, but you are the first Italian guys that asked me to sign something from Lucio Fulci. It was many years ago, so.
Okay.
But it was, and since then we follow him since like every now and then we talk to him. We even played together
Oh yeah.
yeah, this January.
Oh
We did
cool.
this festival in Milan. It's called Fulcicon.
Oh
It's
okay.
Yeah, it's something new. It was an idea that I had during last summer. To actually, we wanted to do like a release party for our new album, and it ended up to be like a convention
Okay.
totally tributing Lucio Fulci. That's why we call him it Fulcicon.
Okay.
And I did this 2 days of events in two locations in Milan, in the north of Italy. It
Hmm.
was one scene, one movie theater, and one venue. So in
Okay.
the movie theater, we screened the New York Reaper, and we had
Yes.
Howard Ross as a guest, the guy that is doing the what they think is the killer in the movie, but
Uh-huh.
actually is not. And then we screened Zombie with Fabio Frizzi playing the soundtrack. But it was cool because it was in the movie theater, so
That's amazing.
you were in the cinema watching the movie with the live soundtracks, and it was cool. And
Of course.
then the day after, we played with the band with Fulci, screening a new video while we're playing. It was 2 days very nice because we had a lot of people that like heavy metal and horror movies, of course, but
Mhm.
also people that was just curious to know more about Lucio Fulci and what's behind,
Oh
lot
man,
of
that's so
young
cool.
people. Yeah,
And they've done it just once, one time, this
yeah.
event.
We did the first one last January, so a couple
Oh,
of
this
months
year.
ago.
Okay, okay. Oh, that's
It was the first edition. It was
okay.
it was sold out actually both days, and now we are going to announce the next one for the
Okay.
next year. So we
Oh,
are working already on that one. Yeah.
so you're very involved in that event, so that's pretty awesome. Oh, that's another way to get people to know the great art that Fucci did and how it influenced, people for decades, which is pretty amazing. Your latest record, the fourth one, Duck Face Killing, as you said, is inspired by the great New York Ripper, one of the strangest kind of slasher slash maniac-esque horror films, and this one is pretty nasty. That's one weird flick. I was so surprised when I watched it back in the days by the kind of duck voice of the killer. It's so strange, but there's nothing like it. It's crazy, but it's so vile, so violent. But back in the early 80s, like a movie like Maniac, those movies, they were trash. And that was so exciting because like, I was watching that and I was, fuck, man, I think it's almost illegal to watch this movie.
Yeah, it's very extreme. It's very gross, graphic, and very uh, not easy to watch. We had
Exactly.
some people still today when we screened in the movie theater. We had some people covering their
Oh
eyes
yeah, oh yeah.
during some scenes, because it's still
Mhm.
very violent nowadays.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
imagine at that time. So that's why we choose this movie, because we wanted to do a very aggressive album, like
Mhm,
very straightforward,
mhm.
and it was the best movie to base a
to
concept of
draw
this.
to draw
Yeah,
from, and I can totally see how your music works because it's so extreme and so in your face, and it's gnarly, just like watching the movie. And that little movie. Kind of a fake trailer for a duck face killing that you shared with me is going to be released soon, I think. Or it's
I
gonna
don't know.
just screen during your shows.
At the moment, we're just screening during before the shows, like a trailer starting before the movie,
It's
and
perfect.
we give to some film festival or someone that want to screen in the movie theaters. But actually, we want to keep like something not secret but hard to find.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
Also because it's quite extreme.
Hmm.
Uh, because it's based on that movie, so it
Yeah.
couldn't be different. So if we publish it, it's not easy nowadays to
No, but
to
as you said, it's okay because if it's hard to see, if you have to go to the concert to see it, it's even better. It's like in the old days where you have to know people to see those films, so it's fitting the concept of what it was back in the day so well. And also, I think the filmmaker, his name is Domenico too,
like
right?
me. Yeah,
I think you did a great job, just seizing and emulating kind of the style that Fulci was into back when he directed the New York Ripper, and it's great. So it's awesome that you got to have a short screening at your concerts. And I was wondering, when since we're talking about movies, what can we expect from one of your shows? Do you have any horror movie props, or do you let the music speak? Is there a screening or clips from
Yeah,
movies as well?
yeah. We have since the beginning, because the band started without a real drummer. We started with a drum machine,
Okay.
because it was just me, Clem, and Fiore. We didn't know any drummer interested in this kind of musical projects. So we said, it's better not taking someone that is playing just for the sake of playing. Let's stay the three of us that we really believe in this thing and just play with a drum machine. Even because we like a lot Mortisian, and they did many records with drum machine, and also live shows. So we started like, and we decided to introduce a screen behind the stage, because we didn't have a drummer. So uh, there was something missing, of course,
Hmm.
physically. That's why we started to have always a screen with a projector, and while we playing, we were screening uh, part of the movies, or videos inspired by Lucio Fulci movies. So it was born like this, and it became a sort of trademark for the band, because
Okay.
it was like more like full experience, not only music. It
Yeah.
was like a cinematic death metal show. I don't know how to define. So
It's a great idea.
even now that we have a real drummer and another guitar player, so there is no more space on stage, but we still want to screen. So we have now we have a specific movie
Okay.
that is actually synchronized to the music. So when we play the the film you see behind our back,
Hmm.
it's very synchronized
On the click.
to the songs,
Okay.
in with images, but also with the intensity of the lights,
Okay.
and to create like a full experience. Like the
Oh, wow.
video actually is one of the member of the band in this case, so it gives the show a dynamic that uh, is not easy to see at every show,
Hmm.
especially in the heavy metal shows. So people, can mosh stage dives, but also they can focus on us, or as well sometimes on the video. So it's a very dynamic show, and it's actually what we want to see if we go to see a show nowadays.
Hmm.
So that's why we try to make it, because before being musician we are also fans, so
Hmm.
that's why we try always to think what we like to do, what we like to see when we go to a show, and that's what we try to develop with the band.
I think it's great, and especially since it's gonna be edited to fit the music. I'm very looking forward to see and hear the whole thing live. And before I let you go, can you give me a quick? It's gonna be hard. It's always hard, those kind of thing. But top three full chew movies
Oh
for
my
you.
god, I always yeah, I always hate this question,
I know.
because it's not easy. So every time I try to say the three movies that at the moment
Hmm.
are my
Yeah,
favorites, but it can change in 1 month or 1 year, I don't know.
of
But
course.
one of my all-time favorite, of course, is A Cat in the Brain.
Oh
That,
yeah, that's
yeah,
really meta. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
that
great.
is, I think, is a very underrated movie.
Hmm.
Uh, Not only from Fulci filmography, but in general, is I think it's a very um, interesting movie, because the story is crazy. It's about the director himself and
Yeah.
his nightmares, and I think, of course, at that time the budget for this movie was maybe not so much,
Yes.
but the concept behind the movie and how it's made for me
It's very
is
special.
amazing. It's very special, and also it's very gory. It's very splatter
Mm.
as well.
And as you
And
said,
then
it's underrated because nobody talks about that movie when they talk about Fulci. So it's great that you brought it up.
yeah, and also I like. I mean, for one of my favorite is City of the Living Dead.
Oh
I really
yes,
like that movie. It's very dark, very gothic, very
it starts
Lovecraft.
strong.
Yeah, it's and it's anytime, as you said, sometimes I rewatch it even if I know like everything about the movie. Every time it's like listening a album that you like or it changed your life. It doesn't matter that you listen many times. You sometimes you want to listen again. So for me, the movies are the same. So
Mm,
if I want to rewatch a movie, I watch it again because you see with different eyes every time. It
mhm,
depends on the phases of your life.
totally.
So that one is one of my favorite. And the third one,
And by the way, just a little post. Do you watch those movies? Yeah, like you sit, you watch a movie, or you put it on in the background, or can you do
uh,
that kind of stuff? When you
oh,
work, or you
never,
no,
never,
you
never.
have to
I
watch it.
sit down, maybe with a huge pizza,
Oh yeah.
but I sit down and watch it like totally. And sometimes I watch together with the other guys from the band, or with some friends that maybe don't know very good that movie, and I want to convince them that it's a beautiful movie and. No, but
Cool.
it's totally focused on the movie, not doing
Okay.
something else and putting
Okay.
the yeah. And the
So
third one,
yeah, third one. It's always
third,
hard to just find like
yeah,
three because there's so many phases. And when you did
yeah.
the
No,
giallos,
third one in this moment, last few months, I'm really down with the Conquest.
that's that's bunkers. Okay, so people, you have to watch Conquest. It
Of course,
is the fantasy film, the worst, the most weird I ever saw, with lasers and swords and creatures. It's amazing,
it's amazing, and also the soundtrack is amazing. It's made by Claudio Simonetti,
right?
Goblin,
Mhm.
and I
Yeah,
think.
I made him sign right there.
Yeah, and it's the only one he did for Lucio Fulci,
Right.
actually. Yeah,
Hmm.
I met yesterday Dario Argento for in person.
Oh yeah, for the
Yeah.
first time.
I saw him in reality for the first time yesterday. There
Okay.
was a master class. It was very interesting. He spoke about many things that you don't really know because it's not written. These
Hmm.
things are not always written on books. It's like music. You have
Yes.
to live it and listen to the people that did the history of these things to understand. So you cannot learn from internet or from books. So listening Dario Argento speaking, it was like goosebumps. Actually,
Oh
I
man.
was a little bit
Wow.
like, yeah, like very touched about what he said, the way he was talking, with the same passion because now he's almost 90 years old and he's still, talking about like he's very curious about what to do next.
Hmm.
So it's very, very interesting.
Oh man, you're so lucky. I'm a big fan of Dario Argento's cinema, and I read his biography, which was translated in French. It's pretty recent, Power, and I was like just wow, and getting in his brains and how he thought about the way the images work with the music because it's always been hand in hand in his movies and with the music of Goblin and then Simonetti's for several movies and the way he used the lack of logic or the way his dreams and nightmares works with the way he writes and wow I man I'm pretty jealous right now that you get to experience that so it's awesome.
I hope you will have the chance to meet him.
Oh yeah,
Maybe you have
I
to come in Italy.
Yeah, and I really hope that you guys got to work with Fabio Frizzi on the song or something. Did you ever got the chance or got the discussion with the men or?
Yeah, there are some rumors about
Oh
that.
yeah,
So
okay.
maybe in the future we will see something.
I like when you say there's rumors coming from you. It's encouraging. So awesome. Hey, thank you, Domenico, for your time and the great chat about full cheese and Italian cinema and of course death metal because it's good for the soul to be in a room where people play death metal really loud. It's so cathartic, like watching a horror movie. So it's awesome that you're paying homage to that kind of cinema. It fits so well. And in Montreal, in on May 15 at Théâtre Fairmont, it's going to be amazing. So people, you have to go see Fulci for the first time in Montreal with a few extreme metal bands, Mutilation Barbecue, Scorching Tomb, Rat Piss, May 15. And I'll be there, so I'm gonna come shake your hand and we're gonna chat some more.
Thank you so much. We cannot wait to come in Canada and Montreal because it's our first time there, and we really love Canadian fans. We I think in music scene in Canada is very interesting. Always delivering interesting musicians and bands. So we are very excited to be there for the first time, and we hope to come back in the future also. And merci beaucoup for this interview. And see you soon.
Yes, grazie, and see you in a couple of months. Cheers.
Okay. Thank you. Bye bye.
Take care.